Good morning, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you all for being here today. If you would rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here today. The first item on the agenda is a building facilities bid opening. So we have our building facilities director already up here out of efficiency. Could you please explain to us what the project is before we open the bids?
Yeah, Dave Palmer, Facilities Director. This project is to modernize the two elevators over in the Justice Building. Those are original elevators and mechanical operations. So modernizing that will make it so that we can get parts, which we're running out of areas to get old parts. And so updating them will hopefully make them a little bit faster and more reliable.
Years ago, you, maybe you weren't here yet, but I got to do a tour of that up there and all the mechanical switches and stuff. It's served its purpose for a very long time.
It has, and we got to where we were really struggling to find parts, and we had them down actually for almost a month, both of them, because we just couldn't get the parts, and we were scrambling to try
Makes
and
it
make
very
sure.
difficult for people to get to the courts. So, all right, so we have just the one bid.
Just have one bid from Central Elevator out of Portland, I believe.
Wish I knew a guy that could sharpen my knife.
And so it's Centric Elevator. So there's actually two parts to this. There's one that is the actual Justice Building Elevator 1 and 2. We also have an alternate for the courthouse building lobby elevator modernization. So the total for both of those is $628,000.
So I'm assuming you'll evaluate that bid to see if it's responsive, and if there's a project to bring forward, you'll bring it back to us.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Agenda item number 2 is our consent agenda. We have some just routine items, contract extensions and what, stuff like that. And I guess we're gonna sign a plat map also. So I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
A motion and second, questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Agenda item number 3 is citizens' questions or comments. On agenda items, is there anybody online? Anybody here in the room would like to come forward? Seeing none, we'll move to the agenda items. Agenda item number 4 is a land department item, and this is a purchase and sale agreement. I'll invite up our land director, Tony Page. Good morning.
Morning. Tony Page, Land Department. What you have before you is PSA, Purchase and Sale Agreement between Douglas County seller and Sutherland Sanitary buyer for an 8-acre parcel located in the Sutherland Industrial Park in Sutherland, Oregon. The purchase price for the property shall be $380,445.58, which includes $84,845.58 for the site prep work that was performed by the seller.
Move to approve the purchase and sale agreement.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. My understanding is that we had a fill permit for wetland filling and stuff, so we had to do the work. That's why there's a
We did.
cost associated with prepping the land before we sold it.
It was under our name and we were responsible for the.
Okay. And so that work's been done and completed.
Yeah, that work has been completed.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Agenda item number 5 is also a land department item. Mr. Page.
Thank you. Tony Page, Land Department. What you have here is a bargain and sale deed for a previously tax foreclosed strip of land with no legal access. It's located at 0 State Highway 138 in Oakland, Oregon. Purchase price for this conveyance was $5,200. This transfer is made pursuant to ORS 275.200. I ask that you approve the deed. Any questions?
Move to approve the purchase and sale agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Questions or comments? Assuming this is an adjacent landowner.
Hmm?
I'm assuming this is an adjacent landowner.
Yes, it is an adjacent landowner. Yeah.
Seeing no further questions or comments, I'll call the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item number 6 is a public works item. I see we have Josh Heacock here today. Good morning.
Good morning. Josh Heacock, Public Works. We have a contract change order here today. This is the second change order to contract number 30002558 with Knife River Materials. This is for the Main Street Candyville project number 11073. This change order adds extra work at Force Account to address some vertical sidewalk drop-offs, area drain protection walls, some added property drain connections, and some miscellaneous storm system work. This will increase the contract amount $13,750 to a new project total of $3,197,809.
Move to approve the contract change order.
I'll second.
A motion is second. Any questions or comments? I believe this is one of the Safe Routes to School projects.
Yep, State Routes to School project down there.
These projects are partially grant funded, but it's interesting when you apply for the grant funding, you estimate the cost. And of course, over the time it takes from when you put in for the grant and when you actually do the bid, if the cost of the project goes up, you end up paying, the county pays the increase in the cost, and we of course pay 100% of all the change orders. So these projects are very important for communities. We've been successful getting the grant funding, but people need to be sure and understand that there is a risk and a cost to the county to do them. We've been very successful getting these grants, and I love these projects. They are important for these communities, and having children be able to walk to the school without, being in danger is very worthwhile doing. But this is just an example of the risk we take when we take on the project. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Agenda item number 7 is a public works item. Mr. Heacock.
Yeah, Josh Heacock, Public Works. This is a new contract, number 30002737, between Douglas County and Smalley and Sons Construction. This is to provide miscellaneous road maintenance on an on-call, as-needed basis. There will be a new expiration date of 8/8/2026.
Move to approve the contract.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Questions or comments?
I believe this is a first time we've had one with them, and I appreciate you continually looking for those folks. They sure were important this winter.
Yeah, this extra capacity that you guys have ready to go proves to be really valuable during winter storms. We've used some contractors during fire things when we need flaggers and things, so having all that prearranged really builds capacity during emergencies. We appreciate that being in place. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Thank you. Gentlemen, I have one off-agenda item I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about and get some feedback from the two of you. So I'm sure each of you have seen the transition the Umpqua Transit District is going through, and I'm wishing them well. As part of that, there seems to continue to be this misinformation being spread around in the community, which I don't usually spend a lot of time worrying about random comments on social media. However, there's a couple local elected officials that have chimed in with information that is absolutely incorrect. So I want to spend just a few minutes recapping some of the work that the county's been involved in this, and then see if we have an agreed upon position moving forward. And then after I go through that, I'm gonna ask your permission for me to work with Tamara on a press release that sort of codifies this conversation that I'm about to have. So back in October of 2024, we got an inquiry from the News Review, and out of that, we put together a little white paper. So I'm referencing a white paper that we gave to the News Review, and then I have a few more things I'm gonna add to it. So first, the formation of the local transit district, and I didn't go back, there's quite the history of where the transit district has been housed and who's been working on it and who's been in control of it. But in 2017 and up to 2017, for many years, the county had been running the transit system here in the county. But in 2017, some local agencies and community members approached the county about forming a transportation district. The agency representatives and the community members thought it was in the best interest of the community to separate the county's management. And it was also noted that they thought they would be able to get more, the ability to leverage more additional grants and awards if it was separate. Oftentimes government isn't eligible to apply for grants, and at that time there was some changing going on in the funding, and the transit districts could possibly receive more funding than through a county. So the board at the time, this is in August 15th of 2018, held our first public hearing and signed an order initiating the formation of an independent Douglas County Transportation District. There was no public comments submitted at that hearing. The commissioners scheduled a final hearing on September 12th of 2018. So on September 12th, the final public hearing was declared, and the formation of the County Transportation District was, the boundaries were established, generally contiguous with the boundaries of the county. And a public hearing was held, and there was comments from a variety of people. When there was no further comments, there was a motion, a second, and a vote was held, and the order was approved declaring the transportation district formation. The new Douglas County Transportation Districts will be an independent, non-taxing district. An election of the board will oversee expenditures of millions of dollars of state and grant funds. The next step was to place a call for candidates on the next election ballot. That was in November of 2018. That board, the new board of directors for the Tangent District, would be elected by the Douglas County voters to oversee the district, which would operate independently of county government starting in January of 2019. Independently of county government. The district board will be in charge of collecting transportation grant money, funding from the state, and determine how that money is spent. No tax dollars were to be collected. It's not a taxing district. In November of 2018, Douglas County voters elected 7 board members out of a field of 16 candidates. Voters chose 7 members. Those are listed here. After the election, the legal transition of the transportation district began. Everything was done according to state statute. There's quite a list of state statutes on transitioning government programs from government to government. And that officially transferred for the program to be its own district. The selection of board positions and terms that were overseen at the first meeting in January of 2019 by the county clerk. And from that moment on, they're their own entity with no oversight from the county. So I had actually given a quote to the newspaper back in October of 24. I'm going to read that quote. In response to the News Review's inquiry, the Douglas County Commissioners are aware of the situation at Umpqua Public Transit District. Like many, we have concerns. However, the county has no oversight or involvement in the functioning or funding of the Umpqua Public Transit District. We recognize that the local transit system is vitally important for those that use it and rely on it. So again, we've got people out there that are saying that somehow the county is involved in this, somehow the county board of commissioners want the district back. So I'm gonna, again, wanna do a press release that clarifies these things. We're gonna say, we were not involved in the last election for the transit district. We're not involved in the current issues that they're going through. I think they're going through a transition, which, could be a positive thing. I'm wishing them well. Most importantly, we have no desire to take it over. That is not something that we would do. And lastly, I would like to, on the record, make sure people know if for whatever reason this district is unsuccessful and somehow it fails, that we will not take the district back. Some other organization or the state will need to do that. We're not looking for additional services to try to provide here. I'd like it to, again, I'm gonna make a motion to that effect of putting a press release together and get permission to have it come from all three of us. So I'm gonna move to put that press release together with our public information folks. And I would like you guys to sign it also.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any comments, any additional? I'm just frustrated that other elected officials are making comments that are just that blatantly false. So, you okay with that?
Yep.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. I'll call a question. Commissioner Boyce?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress?
Aye.
Chair votes aye and the motion passes. Tamara, will you have some time after the meeting to work on that? Thank you. Next agenda item is commissioner comments. Commissioner Boyce.
I'm gonna spend just a minute talking about this purchase and sale agreement at the Sutherland Industrial Park. I think that may be some of the best work that I've done here. And it's a long story, but essentially when I became commissioner 10 years ago and you at the same time, the county had acres of industrial properties in primarily 3 different locations that had sat vacant for a long, long time. And nothing had been done with them. There was development issues like floodplain problems and wetlands issues that made the land essentially useless. There had been some significant investment for some utilities to be put into the Sutherland Industrial Park prior to us being commissioners. Quite a bit of money spent there that was really not being utilized because of these wetlands issues. And
The wetlands issues arrived after they invested the money.
Right.
The state came in and
And-
cleared them wetlands.
right, so and as time went on and the situation it being what it is, the determination of land as wetland became more and more rigorous. So the wetland was growing essentially. What was being considered wetland was growing. And we had an opportunity to purchase some wetlands credits from a mitigation bank that Roseburg Forest Products had built for some work that they needed to do within their own company. In order for that to happen, I needed to understand the difference between wetlands that were declared by the state of Oregon through the Department of State Lands and also wetlands that were under the jurisdiction of the federal government through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I needed to understand who had jurisdiction over the lands that we owned and who had jurisdiction over the bank that was potentially for sale. Whether or not those credits, if we bought them out at Dixonville, would be allowed to be used in Sutherland. And there was just a tremendous amount of work that had to be done just to determine whether or not this was even possible. And then I talked to the city of Sutherland, who has an interest in developing that land as well, and they had some urban development money that they offered to the county if we could make this project feasible. They gave us $300,000 towards the purchase of the mitigation bank. The mitigation bank that we bought in Dixonville is an old log pond at Roseburg Forest Products, and it came with a bunch of 15 or so state wetlands credits and 4.5 wetlands credits under the jurisdiction of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, but also with another acre that could be obtained with a reevaluation. currently, the market for wetlands is about $300,000 per acre credit. So knowing what those credits were worth, it seemed like a pretty good buy, but only if all of this was if the dominoes were all gonna fall, right? So I had someone who was interested, Sutherland Sanitation, in buying 8 acres of that property. The going rate for developable industrial property at the time was about $40,000 an acre. So I knew that I could get $320,000 from them for selling that property if the wetlands were mitigated. And I had $300,000 from the city of Sutherland to use to buy a $500,000 bank. We ended up making that decision that all this was gonna come together. We spent the money, we bought the mitigation bank, we applied for the permits through the US Army Corps of Engineers and the Oregon Department of State Lands. We were given the permit, we were responsible as the owner of that property to do the mitigation work. We could have sold the property to Sutherland Sanitation and had them hire engineers and do the portion of work that was on their 8 acres. But ultimately, we were gonna be responsible for it, so it made more sense for us to do the work and for them to pay us to do that portion, which they did, and the reason for the discrepancy. And really, today, sort of memorializes and finalizes what's been probably 5 or 6 years worth of work for me. So it's been a long process. It's good to see it happen. They've got a project slated for that. There's a bunch of other shovel-ready industrial property in Sutherland now that's ready to use. It's all been mitigated, site prepped, utilities are all there. And it means that there's gonna be some movement on those properties, so I'm glad to finally see this come to fruition, and I just wanted people to kind of understand what that process looked like. All the things that had to happen behind the scenes and the work that had to be done in order to get to this point.
Well, I think Tony will be bringing pretty soon the rest of the order for the remainder of that property to be sold, and now it can go all get developed. So it'll be a huge win, but that story you just told really speaks to a lot of the work that we do here, that it doesn't happen in one small period of time. It takes sometimes years and years to get things to where they need to be. So thank you for continuing to push on that.
Yep.
Anything else under commissioner comments?
Just that there's still some positive things that are gonna continue to happen as a result of that mitigation bank purchase. We have those credits that we bought have an expiration date on them. We're gonna use them up and prepare some of these other properties that we have to be shovel-ready industrial properties. There's a mitigation project that we're gonna start soon at what we call the Oak Creek Industrial Park, which is right there near Ingram Books. And again, those will create developable industrial lands instead of just inventory that's sitting there being not used.
So back into private sector?
Yep.
Well, good job. Commissioner Chris?
Yeah, well, along that lines, that, I wanna just say that I really appreciate all the work you did on that. And not only this project, and as you just alluded to, but our future projects. And taking up clearly a liability that's placed on us by the state and actually turning it into an opportunity. And thinking outside the box a little bit to where we can actually make some opportunities happen here for stuff that's been locked up for a long time, and be able to do some of our projects that we need to do going forward. I'm glad now because of as so many things we do here, by the time you're done with them, you end up an expert in the area, and that's just the way it is. And I'm glad we got you at that point. So continue to work on that so that we can keep that expertise going. We appreciate that.
Exciting new things.
So lots going on. This starting I think tomorrow, Pioneer Days starts in Canyonville. They have a pie auction tomorrow evening, which generally the folks down there are kind enough to let us collectively as a commissioners buy a pie. so they let it go for $300 or $400 is all. Most of the pies go for well over $1,000. I appreciate their mercy on us. Then, you know, they've got events going on throughout the weekend. North Douglas County Fair is happening this weekend. I know in Oakland, they're having a Cars and Coffee, and then I believe on Saturday evening, there is the Cool Coastal Night Car Cruise in Winchester Bay. So lots happening. There was also a firefighter that passed away, and they're having a service for him at the fairgrounds at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. So lots of stuff happening, and I know collectively we'll try to attend as many of those as possible. Anything else before I adjourn the meeting? All right, thank you all for being here. Meeting adjourned.